He's got upside. Who knows what's going on off the field? I just want victories.
The specifics of the most recent charge, Sunday night or Saturday night, they're at Team Hotel in Tampa. And she accuses him, she's 28 years old, she accuses him of slapping her phone out of her hand, pushing her in the chest, and slapping her with an open hand on the left side of the face.
And that's what caused a 1-inch gash? Where's the 1-inch gash part?
I saw
I think
that
it was
yesterday.
on her shoulder or something.
Huh.
Who knows?
Let's go to Brian.
I mean, unless there's video of it. Maybe there is.
in Leesburg. Well, I'm sure they have pictures. She's,
Absolutely.
Brian.
Morning, Junks.
Hey, buddy.
Morning, Junks. I just wanted to kind of shed a few aspects on this. I'm a lawyer in Loudoun County, and I can't speak for what the laws are out in California, but first things first, the marijuana thing is a Class 5 misdemeanor in Virginia. The judges won't even hear it.
Right.
As far as what happened with the domestic violence, in the state of Virginia, I had a client who had his wife throw a coffee thermos at him and missed. He turned around and threw it back at her and hit her in the head. He ended up getting charged with assault on a family member. He was a DEA agent. He lost all of his guns, all of his security clearance. He also had a protective order put on him, and the protective order says that he's not allowed to go within X amount of feet of her within 2 years. He was over at the neighbor's house down the street having a beer. She sees his car outside, calls him in for that, and he gets hauled into the Loudoun County Detention Center. You are unfortunately proven guilty until innocent in this state. And again, I can't comment on what goes on in California, but everyone just needs to kind of pump their brakes and let this thing play out.
Right. Well, this case
I
is
tend
in
to
Florida.
agree with that.
This is in Florida, and if it's true that he actually slapped her across the face with his hand, that's a little different than throwing a thermos at a girl.
I agree. And again, I apologize. It's in Florida, and I don't know how the laws work in Florida. I'm just giving a real-life example to this area as a whole.
No, you're right. I mean, I've talked to lawyers, too, and they don't mess around with this stuff.
The question is,
judges will not mess around.
This is why some people think he's a bad guy, right? So you say he had an incident at the draft where he was...
That was widely reported. They threw him out of the combine.
Grilling
He failed a drug test.
Okay, he failed a drug test, but he also was...
He had an incident with a hospital
employee, okay?
Yeah, correct.
And then you
That was
have
a combine.
Domestic violence allegations. They all point towards hothead.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, which is not a crime, and we don't know if any of these things were crimes.
True.
But he clearly is a hothead who has self-control issues.
100% agree with you. But I'll also say this, that there was a legendary Redskin who had those same issues. He had assault charges, he had gun charges, he had drunk driving charges, and by all accounts, he turned his life around. That was Sean Taylor. So,
yeah. Well, what about Dexter Manley? Dexter Manley had a bunch of off-the-field stuff.
Had a ton of issues.
Mostly drugs.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
The part that's weird, I guess it's a case-by-case basis.
It's the domestic thing.
The part that's weird to me, and I guess it's a case-by-case basis for them, there's no real direction from the organization, is they'll touch Reuben Foster, they'll touch Adrian Peterson, but they didn't even out. Like Colin Kaepernick's on their FUBAR, you bring in Mark Sanchez and like poo-poos.
Mm-hmm.
Like guys, I mean, I couldn't even believe that list that they had together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Like,
well,
why
I think you know why.
He FUBAR'd, but guys who have domestic violence charges.
Well, and it's not just the Redskins. No one's giving Colin Kaepernick a chance.
It's crazy.
Yeah, some teams are willing to look the other way.
He doesn't have domestic violence charges. He doesn't have a string of arrests.
I think that Colin Kaepernick should be given a chance, of course. I think it's crazy.
Guy kneeled. This is right to do. The national anthem.
Yeah. Let's go to Jim Chantilly. Jim, what's up?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. But I think this is the right move if they follow through with what Doug Williams says is the plan, to let things play out, to see if he's exonerated or if he is, or if he's found guilty, or whatever they're going to end up doing with these charges. I'll give you a couple examples that I think of anytime I hear something like this. One, the Duke lacrosse case.
Yes.
I mean, my view on a lot of things changed after that. Mm-hmm. Everyone had those kids convicted. People lost their jobs, their careers. forfeited what I believe at the time was a top 5 team their entire season.
Well, and those kids were
lives
slandered
ruined
forever.
over BS.
Yeah.
Those kids were slandered
Right.
forever. Yeah.
And EB, you brought up Sean Taylor.
Yeah.
I'll bring up another one, and Valdez might be able to correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe Ray Lewis actually pled out of a murder charge. I mean, innocent folks don't typically take plea deals from what I see, unless you're Brandon Dassey. And they've got a statue of him in Baltimore. He's a Hall of Famer. You got to let it play out, and then you can say whether or not it's the right or wrong move, depending on what they do with what comes out.
True. And then, I would say this. At some point, let's say even if he's guilty of this, what if he shows, now there's not enough time that's passed, but what if a guy is guilty of something, but then he does try to turn his life around? At what point do you give a person a second or third chance? At some point you got to stop giving a guy chances.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe in redemption stories and giving a guy a second chance. Some people apparently don't. They don't believe in any
Some people
second
don't.
chances.
No, you're right.
Yeah.